Meantime, gas prices have been soaring here at home, with the average price for a gallon of regular now topping $4.50 for the first time in nearly 4 years. That's the nationwide average. While oil prices dipped just slightly today, they are still significantly higher than they were when the war with Iran began. Joining us to give more insight on what all of this means for consumers and the energy markets is oil and gas expert Jay Young, the founder of King Operating Corporation. Jay, thanks so much for being with us today.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about these gasoline prices. We've seen them spike all across the U.S. This has been going for weeks now as tensions with Iran have been escalating. For our viewers, what would you say is the connection between a war overseas and the price that they pay for gasoline here in Texas? Because a lot of folks, may not realize just how interconnected this market is around the world.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's a global commodity. So that's the reason why, because people have asked, a lot. Well, that's in the Strait of Hormuz. What does that got to do with me and my gas tank and me putting gasoline in my tank over here in the United States? And I understand that. But since oil is a global commodity, it matters, So we're producing twice as much oil as we have in the last 15 years. We're producing a lot more oil in the United States. So we're not as dependent on foreign OPEC as we once were. So it's getting a lot better, and we hope to increase production in the future, so we don't have to be at the hands of all these different OPEC
because
companies.
We definitely haven't been able to insulate ourselves from these price shocks that go around the world. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz. It just keeps on coming up in the coverage of this conflict. Talk a little bit about why that waterway is so critical to the global oil market, and what happens if the disruptions there in that strait just continue? Yeah,
well, 20% of all oil in the world needs 100 million barrels a day. Every day, 100 million barrels. And 20 million barrels is produced in the Persian Gulf. These countries up here, UAE, Iran, Iraq, all the different countries up there produce all this oil. So therefore, we need that oil to flow through there. And if it doesn't, what happens is if they can't flow through and go to China, Japan, India, what happens, or the United States, we still need a couple of million barrels from them. But what happens is if they can't go through that strait, they fill up all their tanks in their country. And if they're all full, they shut down all their wells. That's the big problem. What's going to happen is when they turn these wells back on, because they can't, travel through the strait and deliver oil to other countries. Number one, they're not getting paid at billions and billions of dollars per month, number one. But number two is they're not able to turn their wells back on. And when they do turn their wells back on, in the next month, 3 months, if we do have a settlement, if you will, then the wells aren't going to come back on. They're not like a faucet where you can turn them on and off, real quick. So we're going to have a major problem for a long time.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you. So we've got Memorial Day coming up at the end of the month. School is going to be ending for a lot of these students. People might be planning a road trip for the summer, a vacation that includes a flight, perhaps. Yeah. From your perspective, is this price surge in gasoline and jet fuel and all of these things going to be lasting and sticking with us for many months to come?
That's a great question. And I'll tell you what, I was talking about this 3 months ago before the war, at the end of February. I said, you know what? The oil and gas business right now is not drilling as many wells as they were a year, 2 years ago. Rig count's down by 44%. The wells that come online decline rapidly, number two. Number three, demand's going nowhere. Demand before all this happens going nowhere. What happens now, who knows? But no, I didn't factor in a war. And I knew that prices were going to stay up or go up, from $55 a barrel in December. I knew they were going to go up because of higher demand in the summertime. Now, who knows what's going to happen, because the demand's going to go down a little bit, but prices are going to be higher because there's like 1 billion barrels, 1.2 billion from last estimates, off the market right now that countries have shut down all over the world. And we're going to have to find oil in a lot of different places than we have been in the past, because we don't have the oil. We're not going to have the oil. So we're going to have major problems, major disruptions in supply channels all around the world. And higher oil prices are going to be here for quite some time. I'm afraid to say that because it's going to hurt people at the pump.
Yeah, you know nobody wants to hear that, but you know the reality is what it is right now. This is going to be an interesting and perhaps expensive summer for folks who are looking to get away. Jay Young, oil and gas expert, thanks so much for your time and insight this afternoon. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.